So what are we going to see in these next months, David, and what is going to happen here?
Well, there's a huge debate going on in Democratic circle and the Congress as a whole. How do you deal? How fast do you go? And you mentioned in your commentary with him and with Rahm, and I got the impression from him they want to do everything at once. They want, as you called it, the Big Bang Theory. I think that's a disastrous mistake. You're going to tell me you're going to solve an incredibly difficult economic crisis. At the same time, you're going to reorganizing 14% of the American economy, healthcare. I think that would be a gigantic overreach. And there are other people on the other side who say you do this in 2 stages. The first stage of your administration is stimulus and building faith in Washington. And that includes energy and tax cuts for the middle class. That's your first. And then after a few months where you've built some faith in Washington, then you tackle the other stuff. The health care plan is going to cost at least $100 billion a year, probably way more than that. So if you pile all this together in the first few months, in my opinion, you're going to freak out the country.
The only way he could pursue the Big Bang Theory is if all the talk about wanting to create a bipartisan tone in Washington, he's willing to sacrifice that, because it would only be on an all-Democratic basis that you would get an agenda that ambitious done. I do think there's sort of 2 theories of presidential power at stake here. One says you're never more powerful than on January 21st, the day after inauguration, and you spend down that account, and you better get as much as you can because it's going down. The other, as David suggests, there's a slow but steady approach that says a president can, by doing modest things first, getting them done, being effective, build up reservoirs, and so that you can actually have more leverage, more power in year 2, 3, and 4 than you do in year 1. And we are really looking for clues as to which theory Obama believes.
You know, I always remember what Lyndon Johnson used to say. He said a president has a year. He said whatever a president's going to do, he has to do it in the first year, because he said the second year the Congress starts thinking about itself, starts thinking about getting
But Bill Clinton believed that, and there was a lot of overreach in that first year where they did try to do too much, and his popularity went down and down and down. He was actually had more power after he got his clock cleaned in 1994. Barack Obama at every turn wants to avoid Bill Clinton's experience in the first year.
Well, Clinton got off on gays in the military as his first issue. And,
even in the transition,
and sort of bogged down in that, and really never recovered, and went on to lose the Congress in 2 years.
Obama, I think, will avoid that mistake, but there are only 24 hours in a day. The economic plan is going to be phenomenally complicated. We've thrown $300 billion in stimulus at it this year. We've got a $750 billion bailout. So far, there's little evidence that any of that has worked. Banks are not lending. So you got to solve that problem. That's huge. Then the energy problem. If we could have solved the energy problem easily, we would have done it for 30 years. That's incredibly complicated. And then health care. That's incredibly complicated. You're going to do all that at once? I just find it mind-boggling that they would try that.
Let's talk about the other party. The Republicans. This is like after the '64 election when Lyndon Johnson beat Barry Goldwater. People said this is the end of the Republican Party. Of course it wasn't. Where does the Republican Party go from here?
World of pain. A generation of pain. '64, it was so much better than now. In '64, they had a coherent belief system. They lost. They didn't persuade the American people about it, but they understood where they wanted to take the country. Now it's just a circular firing squad with everybody attacking each other, and no coherent belief system, no leaders. You got half the party waiting for Sarah Palin to come and rescue them, the other half waiting for Bobby Jindal, the Louisiana governor, to come rescue them, but no set of beliefs, really a decayed conservative infrastructure. It's just a world of pain.
The Republicans have got to decide, are they looking for another Ronald Reagan to carry them out of the wilderness? By the way, that often took Reagan years, a full generation to do that. Or are they looking for a Republican version of Bill Clinton? You basically got, as with respect to a new administration, Obama, a hell no wing of the party and a yes but. The hell no is going to fight him every step of the way in order to make an ideological, to get that message that David says is lacking. The other will say, yes, we agree with a lot of his objectives. We want to do it a somewhat different way. It's really, I think, goes right to a tactical and a philosophical fault line in the Republican Party.
Well, is Sarah Palin, is she to be taken seriously, do you think, David?
Well, the hell no group is rallying around her. It depends on who she is And this past week, I don't think it's been particularly flattering to her, the McCain people, and the whole thing has been a complete disaster. But they've attacked her for her lack of human capital or for being a diva. I'm not sure it's all fair, but one would not say she has spent her life preparing for an intellectual revolution to lead a party out of the wilderness. Let's put it that way. And I'm with the yes, but. You know, this is where the American people are. And fundamentally, the conservative movement failed, and I've been in it my entire life, because it hasn't addressed the problems of today. The rise of China and Russia, the rise of inequality, energy, healthcare. It's great to worry about Reagan. I loved Reagan, but those days are over.
All right. Well, John.